I am Kratos. I just killed Pit. He won't be in Smash, so my game is better.
You're really petty, Kratos.
Yeah,
I
and how,
placed an
how
All-Stars
many
Battle Royale today.
and how many copies did Battle Royale sell, Kratos? Huh?
It sold better on the third Tuesday it came out.
It looks like we killed Icarus by throwing him into a dark pit, though, which expands a lot.
Kratos was OP in Battle Royale, wasn't he? Wasn't he like the best character bar none?
Considering he's probably one of the few characters in that game who's actually meant to be killing stuff, yes.
Huh.
Yeah, we're not in Hades this time. Thankfully,
Well,
it's just another lava area.
You would think that Ratchet would be slightly better, but
What, he
I
has a
get
gun?
the feeling they didn't give him enough of his weapons to make that work.
Could you imagine Kratos being susceptible to the Groovatron?
It's kind of one of those
Yeah,
things.
but like, it's not just because he has a gun. It's because Ratchet's selection of weapons throughout his games is batshit insane. So
It's kind of like one of those things where I imagine if all of the Smash Brothers characters were actually fighting, the one that, well, before Bayonetta came out, because Bayonetta is just like literally unstoppable. But like if we take like the Nintendo characters in consideration,
and that's about
Samus would just kick everyone's asses because her firepower is just beyond crazy.
I don't know though. She doesn't have much experience against magic, so.
Samus doesn't need magic when she can power bomb.
No, but you don't know how things will respond to magical beings. Because I know that what you're saying is like highly debated in like all sorts of video game message forums. If characters from their universes had their access to their power from their universes, and a lot of people seem to think Ganondorf would be the best one.
I don't.
He loses to Link every game.
No,
Ganondorf probably would be the best one if he hadn't started out as a goddamn Captain Falcon clone.
Well, no. Here's the thing.
No, that would just add to Ganondorf's power.
No, here's the thing. We don't ever get we don't ever really see Ganondorf do anything all that powerful. The games just kind of say, "Oh, he's really, really strong," and they don't ever say like why he should be feared all that much. It's just like, "Oh, he's a powerful magician." Oh, he can turn into a pig is basically the scariest thing that the game shows us.
Well,
Ganondorf
up until Breath of the Wild, I would agree so.
Yeah, but that's Ganon, not Ganondorf. Like,
it's the same fucking character.
No, they're different. They're different, John, because one's called Dorf and the other's called Ganon. It's different.
Yeah, Ganondorf is one particular incarnation, whereas Calamity Ganon is just sort of the force that reincarnated into Ganondorf in the first place.
Yeah, and
because technically there is only one.
Around.
No, it's technically there is only one Ganondorf.
Yeah, Ganondorf became Ganon, not the other way around.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but the force that reincarnated into Ganondorf was like what, Demise or something?
Yes.
No, I thought that Demise was just Demise and his curse became Ganon or something. Frickin' Zelda lore, damn it. I hate this shit. Yeah, but no, the games just say we don't. You see, I would if the games showed us that Ganondorf specifically were more powerful, then maybe I'd agree with them. But you know who we definitely see be badass? Samus. She can blow up planets multiple times, the same planet more than once even. So yeah. Although then again, if we count everybody who's ever been in Smash, it's Bayonetta, because Bayonetta can lift a 18-wheeler with one hand, and it doesn't even look like she's trying.
And she could punch a god's soul into the fucking sun.
I think she in the final boss of Bayonetta 1, the strength meter I think is like infinitons or something, so she's capable of outputting literally infinite energy. So probably Bayonetta.
But can she punch a hole through reality like Superboy Prime?
Sure, probably.
Okay. Ryan, we're talking about realistic character depictions here. Jesus Christ. Calm it down. Bring it back.
Okay.
Goku would
Captain
always...
Falcon.
Captain Falcon does punch a galaxy in half. That is true. Oh, well, that's actually the anime. Like, in terms of what we see from the games, though, Captain Falcon is really about as strong as a NASCAR driver. So, not that strong.
Technically, we do have games based on the anime, so therefore Captain Falcon's Galactic Punch is still canon.
I'm trying to disagree with that, but I'm having a hard time.
We technically have 2 games based on the anime, so it counts.
Yeah, but does the Super Galactic Punch happen in the games?
Jeez.
Are we pushing this guy's vertebrae around?
A bone fragment, yeah.
Yeah, but that looks like a piece of his spine.
Bone, whatever.
That definitely looks like a piece of his spinal column to me.
Oh, hello. How did you get here?
You know, since this guy's anatomy is filled with lava, I don't think we should take consistency all that seriously here.
No. Especially since the Greek myths are kind of played very loose with how the bodies actually work.
Yeah, because they didn't know how it worked back then.
Well, you know, people have had a fairly solid idea of how human bodies work since a long time ago, because even if they didn't have all the fancy scientific methods we have nowadays, they could still dissect cadavers. So...
Which is basically what they did.
Yeah.
That thing's playing in his stomach acid. That's pretty gross.
No, it's lava.
Yeah, but his stomach acid is lava.
I'll give them
fly
this.
on the wall.
I'll give them this. Some of the battles in the latter half of God of War 2 do mix up what you're supposed to be doing a bit more than I remember the other game ever trying to.
I think Jak and Daxter did a boss like this.
Granted, that's not very hard to do if the game only had 3 boss fights.
Well,
No.
I mean, Lava Boss throwing boulders is probably one of the most cliche things ever, but, you know, in the context of God of War, it's a nice little mix-up.
The needing to hang on the wall and dodge there is unique. I don't think I've seen something like that in any game I've played.
Yeah, well, most games that feature wall climbing try to keep the maneuverability you have realistic. God of War? Nope.
If you're trying to play realism in God of War, I don't know what the hell you're trying to do. Like,
Well, you say that, but we were just talking last part about Dad of War.
you see, I wouldn't necessarily think that that's going for realistic. More so as it's just going more
A little bit more
down to earth,
It's,
which
yeah,
is
it's
kind of
going for a weighty
implies.
down to earth kind of thing.
Well, I know
which
down to earth
implies realism to a
but-
certain extent. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not.
That is the goal of that kind of gameplay system, where you're supposed to feel weighty and badass in the context of what a human could be expected to do.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and you know, that's satisfying in its own way. That feeling of weightiness, that feeling that you're still operating within the bounds of human believability, allows you to feel a certain kind of rush, a certain kind of satisfaction from doing something that a person might be able to do if they were extremely good at what they did.
That's why I find Tekken fun, personally, because it's not like you're doing impossible, like Marvel
Well,
vs.
yeah.
Capcom Infinite.
Says the series with an android flowing your head
Well,
at people
yeah,
as an
yeah.
attack.
When
That
it's-
took six. That took 6 games, though. To be
yeah,
fair.
Yeah,
Hello,
she was-
Jack.
She was introduced in 6, and you know, Jack was interesting, but Jack was also a really clunky robot, so it was more believable. The
You fight the fucking devil as early as 2.
yeah. Well,
It's not as rooted in reality as you guys think it is.
No, well, no, it's
final bosses with laser eyes, notwithstanding, the Tekken fighting system does make fighting feel more like fighting than a lot of other fighting games, especially nowadays.
mechanically,
we'll try.
yeah, mechanically,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll agree.
Yeah, and it's that mechanical game feel that I'm talking mostly about here. I mean, at the end of the day, Dad of War is still a game where you're playing as Kratos.
Yeah.
With you know, all of the context that brings into the picture.
What, spinning 86 times in midair is not realistic? Come on.
And to be fair to Tekken 2, the fact that it does feel so realistic for characters like Heihachi does make the weirder characters like the bears or the robots or the kangaroos or all the other weird shit in Tekken feel even more like satisfying too, because they get the speed and usually not as much of the punch that the other characters do. Because it's usually
That
the
and you're
norm.
overcoming that, and you're usually overcoming it as one of the characters who's not strange.
Yeah.
And that in itself is a strange kind of satisfaction. It's kind of like, you know, beating bosses in Metal Gear Solid is Solid Snake. Solid Snake is just a guy, like a
Yeah, with
really
guns.
awesome guy.
I love that pick of the who would win. A criminal mastermind with the most powerful weapon the United States military has ever received, listing off all of Metal Gear's specs plus a railgun that can carry a nuclear payload to anywhere it wants, or his brother Dave with a pack of smokes.
Yeah, but like that's actually part of why a lot of people don't like the way Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes was directed, because it turned Solid Snake into more of an illogical anime badass of Advent Children tier.
I can jump on a missile.
Yeah, and when you do that to Solid Snake, you take away the context of him just being a regular guy who's really good at operating within those boundaries. That's why, CQC was so effective as a hand-to-hand fighting technique. Because even
It's specifically designed to be something you could use as a normal guy.
Yeah, well, it's not like real CQC. Like, if you go online and compare it to real hand-to-hand fighting techniques, you're gonna find some discrepancies. But it gives you that visual feeling that this is a guy who's fighting as a regular guy should, and he's overcoming all these odds, and that makes his cutscenes in Metal Gear Solid 4 and 3 all that much more satisfying. It all adds together into the context and gives you the feeling that this guy is so badass that he doesn't need superpowers.
These guys ended World War II.
He's basically Batman. But
I'm just a killer, hired to do some wet work. And while he's saying that, they're intersplicing footage of Twin Snake jumping 40 feet into the air.
This is my highlight reel for promotional purposes.
Yeah, it's all fabricated. A lot of buzzwords.
You're finally upgrading the magic skill that you're going to be spamming for the rest of the game.
For that one particular part, yes, because I haven't really needed it to be more powerful until I get to that one point.
Yeah.
But since I maxed out the blades, I have nothing else to really push right now.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's one of those things in game. Have you ever noticed that in some games, you max out one weapon to the point where you can't upgrade it anymore. So you're like, okay, I've got upgrade points. I might as well use it on these other weapons, and then you realize, by the time that by the time you're in the last level, wait, these other weapons are actually kind of good, like
a little bit. My first run through of Doom 2016 was like that,
where it's just like,
Really?
oh, I never use, I don't know what, I never use this weapon, but now that I've upgraded, it's like, oh, next time I'm gonna actually upgrade this earlier and get some use out of it, because that actually happened to me when I was playing
you see, I don't really get that feeling from Doom 2016, because for one thing, there's still a lot of game left when you get your final weapons.
Well, that's one if you're getting them as early as possible. The other was that I was not being as creative as I could have with some of them.
Yeah, and the other thing, though, is that because Doom 2016 is a shooter, you have ammo counts on all your weapons, so you're encouraged to use other weapons just to preserve the ammo count on the weapons you think are more effective at the time. And
yeah, I don't want to use my Gauss cannon because I might need it for later.
Yeah, that in itself leads to experimentation, so...
Yeah, because when the Shantae Pirate Queen's Quest DLC, actually at the time of this recording isn't out, but I got my Kickstarter copy, yeah. And when I first started, I thought the guns were terrible, and then halfway through the game, when I run out of upgrades on the stuff that I thought was better, and I go to the guns, and then I realize that the guns are actually the best weapons in the entire game. And then the second time I played, I upgraded the guns early, and everything became about 10 times easier.
Yeah, that's the thing when you're playing blind in a game with that level of customization, is you're not going to know early on what's better and what's worse. So your own decision making often determines what you experiment with. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, or a problem with game design in itself. But
Makes it interesting for replays when you
it's just
upgrade
playstyle.
different things earlier, yeah.
One thing that I think would be cool in a game, though, is because sometimes you can find yourself stuck where, oh, I upgraded this weapon and I don't, and it kind of sucks now. I think that it would be cool if you could, can you guys think of
If
any
you could
games?
undo it.
If you can undo it, not that, and
Yeah.
you can exchange
there
those
are games
upgrade
that do that.
points for
Devil May
something
Cry
else.
4 lets you unbuy the upgrades you bought.
And
to
then
get a refund, and then put that refund into something else.
Okay, that's cool.
So it was less a purchasing system, and more you have a certain number of proud souls that you can allot at one time, and that increases the maximum number of upgrades you can have at one time.
that's more of an RPG kind of thing, because I'm thinking the badges in Paper Mario for instance, you can only have a certain amount of those equipped at one time, as opposed to like buying to keep them on permanently.
But yeah, there are action games that do stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Doom
doesn't seem.
2016 in the meantime was a point-buy system for upgrades on your weapons. So.
Yeah. And I mean, granted, it's not like that's a bad. Like it works. The reason why it's common is because it works.
Yeah. Although I'm kind of tired of seeing every game have an upgrade system just because it needs one, because they think it needs one. Like, I really could have done without that kind of system in the newer Ratchet and Clank games, for example.
I see why it's there, because especially in games that have a platformer focus, nowadays we're moving away from lives. But coins and the equivalents are important to keep in games like those, not just because like it's important to have shiny stuff to collect to fuel our terrible attention spans, but also because they're used to direct players towards routes and hidden things and other stuff like that. So if you're not going to have 100 coins get a life, and you need them to do something, and the easiest thing is upgrade points or a
the thing about that is in
system.
Ratchet and Clank you're not really collecting anything. I don't think. I think you're mostly just
Don't you
earning
get
experience
bolts?
points for individual weapons.
Yeah, don't
Well,
you-
you get bolts, but that's a currency for buying new weapons and buying ammunition and health. It doesn't really factor into the upgrade system at all.
Okay. I haven't played Ratchet and Clank, so my...
Oh yeah, I remember what it is you're collecting. I'm sorry. You're collecting raritanium, which is a secondary collectible that you get by doing all the same things that you'd be doing to collect bolts.
Only slightly less of a stupid name than unobtainium.
Yeah, they actually...
Transformium.
You know, wow. They really couldn't think of anything.
Raritanium made its debut as a ship upgrade currency, but they removed that from later games, so they decided to use raritanium for gun upgrades instead. But, you know, it's not very engaging because all of the individual upgrades are like really small upgrades, like, hey, you can add a couple more shots to your ammo count, or you can make the damage go up by 1% or something.
I want 20.
You need 20 for it to matter.
Well,
It
then
just
they're doing
winds
their
up.
job.
It just winds up being an extra step that you take care of every now and then when you have some downtime in the action. So, just feels unnecessary, is all. I do
God,
like
you
the
are.
Ratchet and
Link
Clank
would have been up
feature
there
games.
by now.
I do like the Ratchet and Clank.
How many
feature games,
stamina wheels do you have, John?
One. That's all I need.
One stamina wheel in what game?
Plenty of 89-degree angles here.
No, dude, upgrade stamina so much. Dude, it's better than Hearts. So much better than Hearts. Like, you don't...
I upgraded.
I upgraded if you get every single shrine, you can get max hearts plus 2 stamina wheels. So
No, you leave the 3 hearts on your off of your thing and max out stamina, because then you never have to stand around waiting on hills ever again. It's awesome. And you can run for so long, it's great. Stamina all the way. Also, you can hang glide for forever.
Okay, you record Breath of the Wild then.
Dude, we can't do Breath of the
We never
Wild.
finish it.
Like,
Yeah, we're never
that
gonna
game,
finish. We
that
would never
game is
finish it.
specifically designed to not be done in a post-commentary format, because it's super engaging running around for 3 hours collecting berries for me, but it's certainly not very fun to watch.
Well, you know, it might be good live stream material later on. Who knows?
No, it's
A live stream series.
yeah, no, it's a better live stream game than it is a BrainScratch main feature game, because like.
Yeah, like, I really, really want to do Fallout New Vegas and Deus Ex Human Revolution. In fact, I did a poll on Twitter about it. And,
Deus Ex. I didn't ask for that.
Warp.
I did a poll on Twitter and New Vegas won. So, eventually, I want to do a live stream for New Vegas. And, you know, Deus Ex will get its time in the sun eventually as well. But, well, I can't do it right away because I need better equipment, I think. And I'm starting a new job soon, so, eh.